Central Florida's transportation infrastructure directly impacts our economy and quality of life. Congestion slows the movement of products, raises prices, and erodes profits. Time spent in traffic is time away from family and business. With an ever-increasing population, are our roads and transit systems keeping pace? Join us as two transportation experts discuss Sunrail and the I-4 expansion, next on Metro Center Outlook. Hello, I'm Diane Trees. The massive project to improve and expand I-4 is called I-4 Ultimate. It requires money, massive amounts of coordination, and perhaps of equal importance, enormous reserves of patience on the part of commuters. Our first guest today is Lorene Bobo, Project Manager of I-4 Ultimate. Lorene, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How did this all get started in your whole profession?
Oh, my whole profession. I grew up with my dad as an engineer, so definitely learned a lot about that and swayed towards that direction, but I enjoy problem solving and math and science, so it just kind of seemed like a natural fit for me.
So how did that lead into the I-4 project? And tell us about the project.
Okay, so I started with the department, FDOT, Florida Department of Transportation, almost 17 years ago now. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Started visiting some construction projects. I was like, yeah, I really enjoy this. So that's been most of my background in my career. I-4 Ultimate has been underway before I even started with the department. It started,
the planning stages?
The planning stages started in like the late 90s. We knew that we needed to do something. We can't just make things happen overnight. There's a lot of federal requirements and things like that. So then in the 2000s, we started buying the right-of-way so that we could do an expansion one day. We started the design. The economy wasn't doing so well in the late 2000s, so everything went on the shelf. And we needed to find a way to actually do the construction. That's really the expensive part, is building all those bridges. So several years ago, we said, well, what about a public-private partnership? And that's where the government partners with the private industry. They can do the financing, and we can get projects done more quickly. If we use our traditional funding mechanisms, it would take us 27 years to complete this project. So now the 6.5 years doesn't sound nearly as bad, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So, and we're already a year and a half into that, a 6.5-year project, design and construction at this time.
So a year and a half already?
Yes.
I was thinking it was more a year, so it's good.
Yep, so we're well underway. So what are we doing? It's 21 miles of a complete reconstruction of the interstate. So what that means is we're not just widening, but that asphalt, that concrete that you're driving on today will not be there in the future. I-4 was built in the late 50s, early 60s, and it's aged. The bridges need to be reconstructed. Our community has also changed. This is pre-amusement parks. A lot of our neighborhoods have been built after that time period. So we need to adjust to what we're dealing with today, the congestion that we're dealing with today.
I would think the design would be different than before, when there was less people, less congestion. How daunting is it to be in charge of a $2 billion project?
Well, I'm not the only one out there. There's hundreds of us that are working on this project. I think design alone has had close to 450 people at peak from all over the world. We're rebuilding 142 bridges. So that's a lot of bridge design engineers, structural design engineers. It's a lot, but if you just take each interchange, or take the pieces and parts of it, and that's what they did, is they split it up. Okay, you're in charge of this interchange. As a team, we work together and we figure it out.
Now, you are an engineer.
Yes. And
you talked a little bit about the design. How does this come together? Is there like a template that you follow? Do you look at other cities?
Yeah, so we definitely have design standards. There's national standards, and then Florida has even more specific design, or Florida-specific standards.
Why is that?
There's just certain things that we want a certain way. Our road signs might be a little bit different because we've got tourists coming in, we have an elderly snowbird population that comes in, so we have a lot of different factors. We're not just dealing with locals, right? So we have to deal with all of those things. We're very fortunate in Florida that we have decent weather year-round, so we don't have to deal with some of the freeze-thaw things that the north has to deal with. So we're very fortunate in that regard. But safety is very important in Florida. For example, our striping is 6 inches wide versus the standard's 4 inches. So that may not be a big difference when you're driving down the road, but that way we know we've got a good stripe down the roadway. It's just one example of things that we do.
Lorraine, do you think that Central Floridians realize the transformative nature of this project? Or do you think we're so caught up in just trying to survive the commute on a daily basis?
I think you're right. It is going to transform Central Florida. There's actually several projects going on right now, and Secretary Downs will be speaking about that with Sunrail and Wekiva Parkway. But it will not look like the I-4 that you see today. I have 2 young sons that they're not going to know the I-4 of today. They're going to know we always had express lanes. We always had more aesthetically pleasing bridges, things like that. Our state secretary, when we were kind of really getting the project off the ground a couple of years ago, said, I want this to be a signature corridor. I want people to drive through here and know that they are in Orlando. So you're going to see the bridges painted very similarly to the 408 expressway. So those greens and tans. You're going to see some more, a lot of bold landscaping. It's going to look very pleasing while you're driving through, and hopefully the traffic will be moving a lot more quickly than it does today, so it'll be a nice experience.
You said that having the tourists, since we are a travel destination, that does add complexity to the project that you're doing.
It does. We have a very extensive public outreach campaign, which reaches Central Florida, and hopefully it's gone to Tampa and Jacksonville and has spread out, but we're not catching the tourists from New Jersey. So we have to make sure our signage is up to date, it's correct, it gets folks to where they need to go. Not only during the temporary time period during construction, which could be changing daily, but also in the interim, in the final product. One thing I also let folks know is if you're local, we tend to get on, we get in our vehicle and somehow we end up at the office. I'm not really sure how we got there. We are making changes every night. So something that you saw yesterday on your way into work on Monday could be very completely different on Tuesday. So now more than ever, it's very important to stay aware and be aware that things could be different.
Just even the little bit of change in the lane makes a difference.
Exactly.
You said the project's been underway about 1.5 years. What's been the biggest challenge, and is it what you expected it to be?
Yeah, so this is definitely the biggest project that I've ever been involved with. It's the biggest in the state by $1 billion, so it's a pretty massive undertaking. I think everybody was just so ready to go and get moving on it, but nothing happens overnight. So we haven't had any major hiccups, but we're finally kind of getting to the end of design, so everybody can really be getting under construction. Because over 21 miles, there's going to be close to 1,000 workers at peak. So there's a lot of people that want to get constructing, they want to build it, but we need final plans to do that. And so we're nearing the end of that cycle now.
So, according to your timeline, which is so important,
yes.
How are you doing? Are you keeping pace?
We are. We have a little under 5 years to go. So we are on schedule at this point, and we've got time, right? So if we have a rainy season,
it's coming up.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have it every year. We're going to be up against that. So we still have that time that if we need to work some extra Saturdays or Sundays that we can, but right now we're just trying to keep a nice schedule for everybody that's working, because balance is good. We don't want to work 7 days a week, so we want to make sure that folks are being able to go spend time with their families.
The I-4-408 interchange,
yes.
That is a huge section of this.
Yes.
When will that start, and how will things change?
So we have started work on 408 Main Line several months ago, and so they're basically working on the widening of that. We'll be starting on the bridges here coming this summer, you'll really start seeing a lot more work in that area. That area is what we call our critical path. We will be in the downtown area the entire length of the project.
So that's the most difficult section?
Yes. Those bridges are 4 and 5 levels. They're going to be very tall. That whole interchange is going to function so much better than it does today. It's going to be very similar to maybe the 417, 429, where everybody kind of has their own ramp and they're not merging with each other. That's a lot of the problem now. We have close to 200,000 vehicles a day going through that interchange, and 100,000 of them are merging together. So it's what causes the backups.
What about environmental impacts? I mean, there's positive and negative aspects no matter what project you do.
Right. So obviously we are impacting the environment along the way, but we have to follow certain regulations. I think we're complete with relocating gopher tortoises in the corridor. We're very aware of our impacts. We have had to take down quite a few trees along the way to make room for the widening and for retention ponds and things like that. But we're also the retention ponds are there so that we can collect that water. So your car goes by, it's dripping oils and debris and whatever's coming along. Well, that rainwater hits it and then runs off. We don't want that going straight to the lakes and streams and rivers that we're using for recreation. So we put them into retention ponds, and it collects that stuff. So we're doing a lot of very good things as well to protect the environment.
Lorene, any words of advice or encouragement for those of us who have to commute every day?
We're getting there, right? So we're all kind of in this together. The end result is going to be, it's going to be really great. Things are going to function better. That traffic's going to move through there more efficiently. We needed to do this 10 years ago, so here we are, we're finally doing it. So embrace it. My goal is that everybody goes home at the end of the day to their family, and that's the workers that are working on the side of the road, the commuter that's driving to work, driving to pick up their children. So if we all are in this together, we'll all get home at the end of the day.
Patience and safety.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we return, we'll explore the impact, current status, and future phases of Sunrail. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Joining us now is Noran Downs, District 5 Secretary of the Florida Department of Transportation. She also serves as Chief Executive Officer for Sunrail. Noran, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You took over in 2006 as District 5 Secretary. Did you have any idea you were going to have projects the size of Sunrail, the ultimate I-4 project, simultaneously?
Yes, actually I did. We were hoping we could get it done in 2006, but then the economy fell in 2007, and so we didn't get it done then. But we had planned on maybe trying to get those projects out the door if everything was lined up, which it wasn't.
You're looking now at 2 years of service for Sunrail. Can you give us an evaluation of what the 2 years in operation has brought?
Yes, well, the first year, safety is number one. And so the first year that we concentrated on was safety for sure. And as you know, some cars that's not used to transit and trains, they would cross the railroad tracks and there'd be a light in front of them and then they couldn't move and the back end of their cars would get hit. And so concentrating on safety, and I don't know if you remember where they had a woman who was in a car and they showed it on TV to everybody, and that was good for us because you saw her escape with her life within like a second with the door opening and shut. And I think that helped send the message that trains are not the trains under the Christmas tree. They're quite dangerous, they're quite large, and they cannot stop. So the first year we concentrated on that, and of course ridership. We concentrated on ridership. So the on-time performance has been good, and I think we're at 97%. The standard goal is like 90, so we've been 97%, which is good. And we want to increase our ridership, obviously. We're at about a B right now, but for a brand new transit system, a B is not bad, but we would really like an A. We're at about 3,800 tickets per day, and we'd like about 4,300.
What's the biggest criticism of the system?
From what I can tell, the biggest criticism is people want nights and weekends. And right now we have a budget, and I have to stick to the budget, and so I can't afford nights and weekends yet. So we're concentrating on, let's do the 61 miles and run that well, and then we'll work with the local governments as well as the federal governments to see if we could expand the service.
Is that what you expected to hear in terms of criticism? Was that the number one thing, or was there any other area that you were anticipating to have some challenges?
I didn't think ahead like that. I just knew, let's keep it safe, let's continue to work on ridership. I can tell you, the areas that we thought were going to be maybe a little bit lower were the best ones, and the ones we thought would be the best were the lower ones, which was odd, which were the hospitals and stuff. So we're working with the hospitals and saying, we really expected more ridership here. And I know the bosses preach taking Sunrail. I mean, it's a good way to go. They even offset the tickets. So there's so many different shifts, and that's what we've heard. It's hard to capture. Then they have to stay a little late to do paperwork, and so that's something that we're working on. Yet DeBary was not supposed to be as high, in the parking lots at least 80% full almost every day.
Well, just as you said, with cars not making the adjustments, perhaps it's just all of us getting accustomed to having the transit. Some of these things hopefully will just work out with time.
Yes.
With public transportation systems, many of them never run in the black. How is Sunrail doing in comparison to similar systems from a financial perspective?
Right. Typically, your income coming in, the ticket values, maybe advertising, things like that, is about 25% typically. I think we're at about 20% right now, and so we're below, but we're concentrating on that to get that up to at least the 25%.
Well, then you've done very well then with projections for ridership and the financial aspect thing. You must be pleased then. You've been pretty much on target.
I am. Of course, we want that A, but we're pleased with the B, but we're still working hard to try to get more people to try it. One of the things we've done with marketing is the businesses, the larger businesses, and maybe even some of the smaller businesses, they're handing out one-day passes to say, hey, just try it. You might like it, but they have to fill out a survey, and they say that the feedback is very, very good. They just hadn't thought of that as an alternative quite yet, but they did like it. It was an enjoyable ride. Of course, it's Wi-Fi, and it has plugs in for your electronics. So more people are starting to ride it. They're seeing some new faces now, is what I'm been told.
Right. Well, that's a good idea to put the survey out and get the feedback. What about connectivity? That has been such a key issue for making success for Sunrail. How is this working out in the relationship with Lynx? How effective is this being for you?
Well, in the relationship with Lynx, we tie the last mile with Lynx, people that would go on the train. So we work hand in hand with Lynx.
What do you mean by the last mile?
Well, when you get on the train
Right.
and you have to go to your destination, you don't know, and it's where you're going to work.
Right.
Is what we call the last mile.
Okay.
And so we're working with Lynx to on bus connectivities. We're actually helping fund that to increase ridership, and so Lynx and I will get together with our teams, and sometimes the dollars that we're spending on one bus route, people aren't using it for Sunrail, so we might put that money on a different route that people are requesting the bus connection.
So it's almost a balance system of trying to figure out where the most needs are and then putting that forth for them.
Yes, and giving them options, because like downtown Orlando, they now have those rent-a-bikes.
Right.
And
I've seen
people
them.
are using that, and of course Uber and Lyft, and those are a connection as a choice for the individuals. one lady gave us one of her testimonies of how much weight she lost just taking the train and walking to and from her first or last mile, and she was so excited about that. So that last mile is a mixture of everything, but we're trying to help those that need help who want to be on the train.
Right. Well, you suggested some options that I hadn't thought of either. And perhaps that's part of it as well, people just getting used to and accustomed to thinking of different ways that they can move around, which is great.
Yes, yes, yes. There's also working with City of Orlando, I believe, on you can use a car for an hour, and you just sign it all up. It's all on an app, and you go to the car, you do whatever you have to do, you drop the car off, and you jump back on the train. Some people are even doing that.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
What's the next phase for Sunrail? Phase 2, where are we with that, and where will the tracks go?
Okay, so Phase 2 South, that goes all the way to Point Siena in Osceola County. Phase 2 North, we're working on trying to get federal funding, which goes to DeLand. At the same time, we're working on what's called Phase 3, which gets you over to the airport. And with that, that'll make a big difference. You know, right now they're building the big infrastructure to house Sunrail and other rail entities. And so we've done our study, our environmental study, and determined that, you know, would it be bus, would it be Sunrail, would it be something else? And the mode of taking whatever it was, it comes out to be Sunrail, seems to be the most cost efficient. So we're working on finalizing our concepts for that, going out to the public, and working with our public officials to see, we have to, you know, have 25% funding partners to go forward with a federal funding grant agreement.
That's so exciting that Phase 2 is already, you've broken ground. I thought I read that you expect quite a boost in ridership once the Osceola section, is that accurate?
Yes, the Osceola section opening day projects 2,000 tickets. So it could be like 1,000 people or 2,000 users. And they're quite excited. I mean, they've been waiting patiently for this, and we hope to get it completed and built and up and running by end of 17, maybe first quarter of 18.
That's pretty fast. I would think as that area has grown so much residentially that there will be a lot of traffic that will take the train and move in to jobs closer to our Orlando area.
Yes, way more opportunity.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, 2021, I believe, is the date where the state turns over running the cost of Sunrail to Orlando and the 4 county partners. Have discussions begun about options for funding?
Well, discussions have begun about the transfer from us to them, because it's got to be, we don't want to just hand it over 6 months or say, okay, 6 months before, what are you guys going to do? We're working with them to say, how do you want this transfer to go? We want to help train your folks. So they're thinking about, okay, we're going to have this thing by 2021. We better start learning more of the details. And so we've been working on that. Funding, we haven't had that. I mean, it's in our agreements of what they pay, and it hasn't been an issue.
Thank you so much. It's exciting to hear all the news.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's all the time we have today. Join us next week when we again explore issues important to Central Florida. Thanks for watching. I'm Diane Trees.